Helena, I want to talk to you about Great Expectations,
Yeah.
the film, the 2012 film,
Yeah.
in which you played Miss Havisham.
Yeah.
I think you were a bit reluctant at first to take it on.
Well, I was only just slightly shocked because when somebody offered me, they said they're thinking of you for Miss Havisham. I thought, well, I know I'm getting on, but am I that old? Because, traditionally she's played by somebody who's sort of 60s, 70s.
Yeah. In fact, she's not that old.
If you actually make the maths, which I'm not terribly good at, if you calculate according to the book, but then Dickens I don't think was very good at maths either. He just fudged his dates a lot. When you break out down the film book, you go like, hang on, it doesn't make sense. But she isn't. She's only sort of early 40s, which though from a child's point of view, and a lot of it's written from Pip's point of view, it could be perceived that she is ancient because anybody over 35 is ancient for a 9-year-old. So
yeah, exactly. It's quite a role, isn't it? Playing somebody who's sort of quite mad with grief and whose life has been emotionally frozen from the age of 20, and all those wedding things still there exactly as she left.
It's a very extreme reaction to being jilted.
Certainly is.
I mean, there's apparently at the time there was a lady who in Australia who literally kept her wedding dress on, left the door open just in case he came back, and just could not move on. So. She's fascinating. I mean, it's the fact that she was an icon, but she's got so many strands to her. And the fact that she's completely mad, yeah.
And pretty chilling what she does to Estella.
Well, in a way, it can be read as wreaking revenge. Her heart's been so broken by this man, who actually was a bastard, basically. Just not a nice man. But then she sort of, in a way, some people say that she's wreaking revenge on all mankind by training Estella to break hearts.
As hers was broken.
As hers was broken. That's the only way that she can function, really. But then there's also a sort of fairy godmother bit to her, I thought, by, she feels that she can grant. She's a complete control freak. I mean, I think there's that thing of, like, if somebody's been hurt so much, they shut down. And I can see it happens to people that I know, where they don't literally shut the doors, but they shut doors inside their hearts. So they're very protected. And she literally shuts down all the windows, doors, and then creates this little world and introduces only things that she can cope with, which are basically children. Yeah. And then she plays with them and uses them and controls them.
You have to feel quite sorry for her, and I think you do that brilliantly in the film.
I hope I do.
This idea that you must feel sympathetic for her. I mean, here is this girl who was brought up by an overprotective father, very limited view of the world.
Absolutely.
Allowed to do what she wants, and the only thing she's really been brought up to do is marry someone. And
Absolutely.
then that goes wrong.
I think it's a big lesson. I mean, I thought it was a big lesson in how, just a warning against spoiling children, because when I look back on it, this is when you act a part, you have to kind of make sense of it. And my mum being a psychotherapist, I think she's sort of, I borrow a lot of her sort of outlook on, or a way to approach a part. So my sort of, and that's what I think possibly because my mum's involved in, interested in sick people, and I end up I love sort of decoding how on earth does somebody become this sick. And with her, I really think it was because her father never said no. Never said no. And if you never say no to a child, the first time when somebody says no, they don't know how to cope. So this is what happened to Miss Havisham. I can't even remember was it Eleanor? I think it's her first name was Eleanor.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
I know. Some modern critics make the point that in a way she highlights the dilemma that a lot of Victorian women had.
Yeah.
That marriage did mean everything and you didn't have anything else to fall back on.
Yeah.
So in a way it's sort of extreme version.
It was, except she had her own poverty. I mean, she had her own private means. This is, she gives the expectations to Pip. I mean, so in a way she was being married. I mean, he was marrying her originally for her money. So it was just perceived, which was in a way, it was perceived that she was powerless because she wasn't married. But in fact, she ends up being with all those hangers-on and all the relatives, the vultures as she calls them. Mm. She is actually the woman who has the power and wields it.
And at the end, before she burns to death in that she is contrite, isn't she? You do feel that she realises what a horrible thing she's done, both to Pip's life and to obviously to Estella's.
Yeah, in a way she heals because she suddenly comes through and she realises what she's done and how it was all her fault. So she does come through. So you see that, in fact, the heart wasn't totally frozen.
It's a great film. Did you enjoy doing it?
I loved doing it, principally because I loved the costume. I love dress, costume, and so I thought this is a wonderful thing to say so many things with. Like you want a costume to speak before you do in a way. So I had all these ideas. Way too many. I actually wanted to have, actual animals crawling and maggots and decay, and I love the mixture being. I don't know. I had lots and lots of ideas.
Did you have ideas about the shoes as well? Was it?
I had a whole thing about the shoe, and I thought it was Cinderella. Exactly, because I thought she would stop, and we filmed it so quick. Unfortunately, we never actually filmed the point at which I'd done the whole part. We did all the old bit first and the young bit at the end, and I played the whole thing with a hobble.
With different shoes?
Yeah, one shoe on, one shoe off, because I thought, and if you look at the text, it's threaded through with fairy tales. There's Cinderella, there's Sleeping Beauty, there's a fairy godmother in there, so I thought, of course it's Cinderella, but her shoe came off, but she never managed to put it on, so she's walking around. The other great idea that I had, I thought it was a great idea, but in fact it ended up being a totally useless idea, was that if you're going to be inside for about, it was about 30 years we worked it out, or 15 or 20 years actually. 20. She'd obviously have osteoporosis because you wouldn't have any vitamin D. So I went straight into my osteoporosis research. I met some great ladies with osteoporosis. The whole thing was all about the fact that I was broken from. But then the first day I arrived with my broken osteoporotic back, and they just said, "There's no way that this is going to work because where are we going to put the camera? Because you'll never see you." So out went the osteoporosis. It was just like, oh, okay, well, forget that then. Of course, she hasn't got osteoporosis.
Well, it was very effective.
I think I might have had too many ideas going on, which is often the case. But I did love doing it. And also, on a logistical level, I was always in one location. So everything I was shot off in 2 weeks. A lot with filming, and this is the problem with filming, is that it's very stop-start, so you've got no momentum.
But all your bits were done
all my parts were banging because
they were only in one room.
Location is everything in film. That determines when you're going to shoot it or how you're going to shoot it. So if you're in one location, which I was in one room, it was all one. So I was in and out in 2 weeks, but just didn't have to keep stopping and starting and was completely immersive. So I loved it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Not at all.